Welcome back to Fall Down Football. It's another video, and today I am going through how I think we should be setting up against Brighton in the fourth round, the League Cup, and I'll be given a predicted lineup. Following our victory over Crystal Palace, Mikel Arteta has unfortunately revealed that there are some injuries leading up to this game. So, William Saliba and Gabriel Martinelli will both miss this match against Brighton. However, Declan Rice, Ricardo Calafiori and Bukayo Saka are all fit, after all three were substituted during our 1-0 win against the Eagles. Just to go through, Brighton do have injuries of their own. So for the visitors, Milner has been ruled out after coming off against Manchester United, while Matoma, Veltman and Gruder all are doubts. On top of that, Jack Hinselwood has been ruled out with an ankle injury, and also Solly March and Adam Webster are long-term absentees. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just go through on the tactical board and basically share with you what I think we should be doing and what I think Arteta will do, and we'll kind of go from there. Now, what I've done for this part, I've kind of shown us our usual 11 playing against Premier League teams. We have our usual back four. We've got Zubimendi as the kind of DM. We've got Eze out in the 10 position due to Odegaard missing so much time this season. Then Declan Rice with him, and a front three of Saka, Gyökeres and Trossard. Unfortunately, Martinelli can't be part of this anyway, but Martinelli kind of being chosen more in Europe. So I've left him out of there anyway. So let's go through the obvious concerns. So Saliba, stalwart of this Arsenal defence, is going to be like for like, isn't it? Let's be honest. The obvious decision is that Saliba comes out, and then in comes, here he is, Christian Mosquera. Now, Mosquera has been fantastic since he joined the club in all competitions, and including kind of the pre-season as well. He's shown his versatility. He's adept at left centre-back, at right centre-back and right back. And I think he's been such a crucial addition to this team. He already had to do something quite difficult in stepping in for Saliba when he went out within the first 4 minutes, I believe it was, against Liverpool. And now for him to, step in here, I think he's ready for it. He'll be absolutely fine. And it's so nice having that depth. In terms of Brighton, now Brighton had a really bad showing against Man United, losing 4-2. There were 2 late goals, one apiece after the 90th minute. But Danny Welbeck, in his ripe old age, is still performing. Like, he has been fantastic. And this Brighton team can get goals. They've shown in the League Cup now. I think they've scored 12 goals, is it, in the last 2 matches? Something along the lines of that. Scored a lot of goals. And I think it's important that we do acknowledge that. However, against Premier League opposition is a different kettle of fish. So some players to kind of watch out for. Welbeck, Baleba, obviously in midfield. He has been that guy that's mooted for a huge move next summer. He was rumoured to have contacts with Man United, but that never came through. But Baleba is someone I love to watch, an unbelievable player. Having said that, he did come off against United and Milner came on before Milner ended up injured. So we'll change Milner into our injured grey. I'll put him up here as well. So most likely Baleba will be in here. Another one, De Kuiper. Now this is someone that we've talked a lot about on the pod. So on the Fockles podcast with Wackles, okay, Reese has been saying that Kuiper could have been a player that we should have really looked at as an overlapping left back, and he's someone that loves to get up and down this flank. Since his move, it hasn't been rosy for him, and he's another one that was pulled after the first I think it was the 59th minute. So they made quite a few changes in that game. So I mentioned the Baleba one. De Kuiper came off for Watson. We had Yari also in midfield, came out for Gomez. Rutter came out for Kostelis, who got the goal in the 92nd minute, I think it was. And then also on top of that, in defence, we had FIFA come out for Simas, but that was a little bit different. That was in the 87th minute. What do I think is going to happen? That's the question. For me, I think they're going to keep well back up front. I think Rutter will come out, and I think, where is he? If I can find him, where is Gomez? There he is, hidden away. I think Gomez will come into this. That would make sense for this fixture. It might be that Minter, who didn't have a very good performance, comes over to the right, and then they play Watson out there. And that would make sense to kind of shore this side up. Letting Watson come in, the Kuiper can kind of come inside. They'll make a back five at times. And then if needed, Watson can come up, and then they can rotate with the Kuiper coming on the overlap on the outside. So that could be something that we see here. Baleba will keep his spot. And then the rest of the back four, so the Kuiper, Lewis Dunk has to have his space. He's the captain of the team. Van Hecker, I would guess will be playing, but possibly Coppola comes in. It depends if they kind of want to rest players. And then the last one, unfortunately, I think Veltman, if he is available for this game, if he's not fully injured, he might come in, which would be great for Brighton, not great for us. But as of right now, as he's a bit of an injury concern, I would leave him out. This kind of looks like the team. The only other thing that might happen that Steele comes back and Steele goes in goal. That's something to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if Steele goes. In fact, I'm going to say Steele does. I'm going to say he does. So that's my Brighton lineup, but no one's here for that. Now, the thing we need to be aware of is that mainly this left-hand side, this is where they're going to be going a lot through. The left-hand side, and Baleba coming up and down. He's essentially like our Declan Rice at times. I think Declan Rice, if he is playing, we'll tie him up, but I'll get into that in a minute. So we'll keep our eye on this zone here at the moment, okay? Let's go with a nice... Let's go with a box like that. There we go. Okay, so that's our zone that we're looking at. Now, let's go through what I think will probably happen with Arteta. Now, Arteta doesn't like making lots of changes. I know it's a cup that some people are saying you might as well just kind of throw it in now because we've got bigger fish to fry. We've got the Premier League. We've got the Champions League. Even the FA Cup is a much bigger trophy than this. So, what is the point of the League Cup? Now, for me, we haven't won this in, donkey's years. It's a cup that wasn't put on the back burner by Pep. It wasn't put on the back burner by Klopp, even Mourinho. So I think it's something that we should be looking at as we need to get a trophy. And if we can get this done, we can get it done early. And that kind of sets you a good precedence for the rest of the season. So in my opinion, I think we should be going into this, not with our strongest team, but with a will to win. And I'll discuss the differences between my lineup and Arteta's. Now, Arteta likes to kind of divert to seniority. He likes those senior players. And I just don't think he's going to make too many changes, especially with the injuries that we have got. So we have got players like Saka, Gyökeres that need a rest. I mean, Gyökeres has played so much football recently. Eze, a possibility. Do we need to save him with Odegaard, getting, 3 injuries already this season? Is he someone that's vital to us? So maybe him. Declan Rice has played a lot of minutes. Zubimendi's played a lot of minutes. Yurian Timber, this is a guy who had an ACL injury. He came back and he's had to play again and again and again. Maybe Yurian Timber needs a rest. Calafiori, can we depend on Ricardo Calafiori to stay fit the entire season. We've just had this injury scare about him. So like another player, like, should we be bringing him out? Gabriel, right now on form, for me, the best centre-back in world football. He is on another level right now. And like, you look at his goal scoring, I mean, that's not what you usually look for as a centre-back. Looking at his goal scoring form, he is on a better rate than John Terry and Virgil van Dijk. So unbelievable form at the moment. Maybe that's someone you want in, and looking at our set piece routines, maybe that's someone that you have to have in, but at the same time, he probably needs a rest. And then the last one, David Raya. Like, can we pull him out? I think so. So let's start there. Let's start in goal. David Raya for me, I think he comes out. Kepa comes in. This is what Kepa's been bought for. You know, last season we brought a keeper in on loan that was cup tied. I mean, one of the most stupid transfers I've ever seen. And then when he did play, Neto was just horrendous. Now Kepa has got Premier League experience. He's he's got experience of this cup. He understands how we're meant to play. Like, I think he's sure enough in his hands that he can come into this game and there won't be any problems. So Kepa for me goes there. Will be a little slight change of play, but nevertheless, Kepa comes in. I think let's start on the right. Timber, as I said earlier, he's played so many minutes. He is vital to how we play. Probably the best right back in the Premier League right now. Top 2 right backs in Europe, I would say, up there with Hakimi. So again, Timber comes out. Ben White comes in. Getting Ben White those important minutes, getting him more time on the field. I think he's a player that he's kind of been dismissed this season, I feel, because of Jurrien Timber's form. But don't forget how vital he was with Saka to, our good fortunes over the last 3 seasons. The Ben White, this is a guy that can come up and around and let Saka drop into these spaces if it is Bukayo Saka. I'll get onto that in a minute. But again, I think Ben White, as De Kuyper chose to go up, I think Ben White could be a really good option there. Makes sense tactically for this game. So Ben White goes in. Christian Mosquera goes in as the obvious choice, with Saliba being out. And then Gabriel, I think he'll come out. He is so important. And for us to lose Saliba and Gabriel would be horrendous. But if that's going to happen, let it happen by choice. And Arteta taking him out of the team in a League Cup fixture. Like, it's not a terrible idea bringing him out. So for me, Gabriel comes out, and making his full debut will be Hincapié. Now, Hincapié has played like in a back 3 a lot of the time. Like, he's someone I do want to see getting up and around in these areas. Really aggressive player. Watch him step up when the ball's kind of in these areas. He will step right up. He's very aggressive. And luckily for us, he kind of lowers his aggression in these areas. But he could be a bit of a concern with his aggression. But I think he's going to be someone that I'm really excited to watch. I really am. And I think he'll get his debut tonight. Out on the left, Calafiori. He's just had an injury scare, so the obvious choice is that he comes out and Miles Lewis-Skelly comes in. Miles can then kind of step into midfield if we need him to, and I think that could be important with Baleba. I think him and his defensive work on Baleba could be really interesting, but I think he adds to the control of the midfield. And kind of spoiler alert, I do think there's going to be some tactical changes and personnel changes in this midfield. So I'll get into that now. So Lewis-Skelly comes in. Completely different back 5. Completely different back 5 from what we're used to. Is there really a quality drop? I'd argue there's not. I mean, there is obviously a quality drop when you lose 2 of the best centre-backs in the world, one of the best right-backs in the world, and Calafiori, who's kind of this roaming left-back maverick. There's going to be changes. However, it's not a stark contrast to what we're used to. It's not completely different ways of playing. They all understand the system. They are all top-level players. They are players that any other team in the world would love to have. So we're so lucky we've got these guys. But nevertheless, a complete different back 5. For me, Zubimendi comes out. I think you all know who I'm going to put in here, and we get Norgard in. Now, Norgard in pre-season was wonderful to watch. He was actually someone that I thought, is he going to start playing and starting Premier League games until Zubimendi comes up to speed? But it didn't take long for Zubimendi to do that. So I think perfect game for him. He was a Premier League captain. He understands how to play. He understands the role. I think he's fantastic, and set piece threat. And Lord knows that we love those. So Norgard comes in. Out on the left, Declan Rice. Now, I think Declan Rice might come out here, and we could see Mikel Merino come in. It gives Declan Rice some rest, but for Mikel Arteta, it means that he's putting in a player that he can trust, a player that he knows. So I think Mikel Merino comes in there, and he does a job. That would make sense. For me, I think Eze continues in the 10. Yeah, Mikel Arteta likes his systems. He doesn't like too many changes, but this gives Eze more time to kind of pick up that role on the right-hand side. We know that he didn't really play this role, and a lot of the time he had lots of space to drive into when he was playing at Crystal Palace. But I think it could be really interesting for him to play at, in a League Cup game where the stakes are a little bit different in this role. So Eze in the 10. Then the front three will be Leandro Trossard out on the left. There's not many other options. I think Arteta keeps Gyökeres up front. I think he'll look at it as, more time for him to get used to the team, more time to play against Premier League opposition. I think he'll want Gyökeres to stay in there. And I think Bukayo Saka will come out. Which is like one of the first times that I've been able to say that I think Mikel Arteta will take Saka out and rest him. He's had to play minute after minute after minute, and it is taking effect on his body. So Ethan Nwaneri comes in here. Now, part of the reason I think this is because with Ethan, we've seen it in the past. He can come outside and then drop inside. He loves that shot from here, kind of picking up the ball and from there shooting around. Okay, so bending into that corner. These spaces are what Ethan Nwaneri loves. Now, the other thing is that if we're looking at De Kuyper coming up, or we're looking at possibility of Watson dropping in there, or vice versa, De Kuyper coming inside and Watson there, and they end up with a back five. I think then obvious spaces out wide, so we can give it to Ben White, and Ben White can start whipping these balls in here. So it makes sense. Not what I would do, and I'll get onto that in a minute, but I think Ethan Nwaneri will play. Okay, so there's my predicted lineup. What would I do then? What would I do? Now, I joke with Wackles that I would play Calafiori in here and the Mars out. With Hincapié now being fit and we needing to get him minutes, I think Hincapié goes there. I much prefer Calafiori with Trossard. This kind of duo works really well with Trossard coming in, Calafiori coming out, Calafiori making runs into these spaces at times, so the ball, and if I show, the ball can travel straight to Trossard out here, and then he kind of makes his underlapping run. I mean, if I put in the right spaces, it will happen. So he likes to come into this space. The ball comes out wide, and then Calafiori runs underlapping inside. He actually becomes more or less a 9 at times. So that is an option. I just don't see us doing it. So for me, I think we go with exactly the same back five. Norgard takes that space. I think that's obvious. As much as I love Zubimendi, I do not want him getting injured in a game like this. Here's the problem. I want Victor Gyökeres to have a rest. He has played so much football. He has done so much high intensity running that I just want him taken out for a little bit. And it might suit him in a late game state where, we need a goal and the game is stretched a bit to run in on beyond. So for me, I think Gyökeres comes out and I think Marina goes up there. That's what I would do. I've joked so many times in the past, he is our Havertz replacement, but he's clutch. He's a guy with such good shooting. He's a guy that can hold the ball up if we need to. Aerially, wins all his duels. I think Mikel Merino is the choice there. And for me, I think that means that Nwaneri comes out here and Eze comes in here. So you're giving Eze a chance to play in his kind of more well-known position. Eze used to play in this kind of left 8, free-flowing role for Crystal Palace. Gives him the option of coming here and then inside to shoot on his right, which we know he loves. For me, better angles for Eze. It also gives the option of if Trossard comes in, Eze comes out, because Miles doesn't really like to go on the outside that much. So we've got more of a free-flowing attack right now. So for me, I like Eze in there. And then out on the right, Max Darwin. Can you start someone that young in a game against really a Premier League team? I know this is not a Premier League competition, but we're playing against a Premier League team. I think you can. I love the idea of Dalman. We know that he can pick up these central zones. We know Ethan can come out. We're going to start seeing some rotations here. Give it to me. Let me have it. The only other option that I haven't mentioned is that you just kind of say what will be will be. You take Eze out, because I would like to see Eze get a rest. Miles steps in here. Alafury comes out here. And suddenly you've got these players from Hell End controlling the game. Be interesting. Miles making these powerful runs here. Ethan coming inside and dictating play. Dalman out on the right. Can you do it? Possibly. The only other player that I haven't mentioned is Sego Jr. Could he play out on the left-hand side to give Trossard minutes? Trossard is our only left winger available right now. So that is an option. And it gives a very different profile to Trossard. So maybe Sego Jr. comes in. If you want to really kind of throw caution to the wind and say, let's just play how we want to play. Let's put in some young players, see what they can do. But, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But for me, I think the most sensible option would be this. But we know that's probably not what Arteta will do. So let's just go back through what I said for Arteta. My prediction is that we'll have Kepa in goal, Ben White right back, with Mosquera and Hincapié at centre-back, left-back Marsden Skelly, Norgard as our DM, Eze as our 10, with Mikel Merino as a left 8, and a front 3 of Nwaneri, Gyökeres, and Leandro Trossard. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to say a lot about what Mikel Arteta thinks of this competition or thinks about the Premier League, depending on his lineup. Some options have been taken away from him, like we said, with the injuries to Saliba and Martinelli. Real shame, but they should be back by next weekend, hopefully. Wait and see. Let me know what you would do there. I want to see your 11 in the comments. Put it in there. I will be kind of rating them and discussing what I like about them, what I don't like about them. To put your 11 in there. Let me know your predictions for the scoreline. And if you haven't done so, hit that like button. I am here for the previews, the reviews, the podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.